everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I thought I would share our Christmas Day menu that I've come up with because I haven't done one of these for a very long time. I've only ever hosted Christmas once before, and obviously the situation this year has meant that we will be celebrating as a family of 5 at home just to try and keep all of our loved ones safe. And so I find myself cooking Christmas dinner for 5, which it does feel a little bit like I am just going to be cooking a roast dinner with a few extras, but at the same time I'm a bit nervous about it. So I've got my tips and tricks ready. I know what I'm doing. I've also come up with a menu, and I thought I would share it just because maybe if you're at that stage now where you haven't got your starters sorted yet, or you're not sure what you're going to do with these sprouts or this, that and the other, then maybe it will help. So I'm going to run through the whole day and share what we're going to be eating. Now, first things first, we're going to start with breakfast, and that will normally feature a lot of caffeine for Mark and I. So I've got my coffee pods in, I've got some festive ones, I've got the Starbucks Toffee Nut Latte if I fancy one of them for our Dolce Gusto machine, but I've also got some festive ones from Nespresso that are like their festive range. They're really, really nice. They're nice and rich and stuff. So I've got these in ready. We have tea ready. We're going to have our milk in and stuff. And then in terms of breakfast, I wanted to make it like a bit extra and a bit more special, but not to the point where I am cooking like a full-on English breakfast when I've got a Christmas dinner to make later on. So what I've done, I've placed an order with our butcher, and I've ordered some of our butcher's sausages, some butcher's bacon. We get our eggs delivered from a farm nearby anyway, so they'll be coming as well. And then I'm going to get some really, really nice bagels or bread from like a local bakery on Christmas Eve. So that is all there and ready. And I'm just going to make like breakfast bagels. So if someone wants bacon, they can have bacon. If someone wants bacon and egg, or wants like bacon, egg and sausage, something like that, can make them. They're relatively quick and easy to do, doesn't take up too much like washing up, and it'll fill us up for the main event. But another thing that I'm going to do is try and make some nice pastries, because if we don't all eat them that day, they will do for the next day. We can put them in like an airtight like container and keep them for future days. But it's also something sweet for the kids because they'll really enjoy them. But I saw a recipe on the Tesco food website for apricot cruffins, which is like a croissant slash muffin recipe. It doesn't call for too many ingredients, and you can use the ready-made croissant dough that you can buy from like Just Roll. And I thought they sounded really like nice, you know, like fresh out the oven, like really warm, and the smell is, oh, I felt like they'd be lovely. So I'm also going to try and make them as well. I might either prep them like the day before, keep them in the fridge so I can just stick them in the oven in the morning. That is the plan. And then obviously anything left over we'll do for future breakfasts. But I don't want to go too hard, I don't want to go like too extra with it, because it's just more work for me, and I love a bacon bagel, so I'll be fine with that. We will also be having some Bucks Fizz, so that's like tradition. Not the kids, obviously. I might make the kids like their own mocktail to do something like a bit fun for them. I just remember coming down as a kid when we'd be like staying over at my grandparents' house or something like that. We'd come down on Christmas morning, we'd open the presents, and then everyone would be in the pyjamas and they'd have a glass of Bucks Fizz, and it's just tradition. And I feel like the only day of the year that I would ever tolerate a tiny bit of alcohol that early would be Christmas Day. So we'll be getting a bottle of that as well, just for me and Mark, just to, you know, bring in Christmas Day, if you will. Now, on for like the rest of the day, as it's only the 5 of us plus like the dog and the cats and stuff, it's weird because normally we would spend the morning at our house. We would open presents and we get ready, and then we wait for Bill to come home, because Bill will be with his dad on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day morning, and then he comes home and spends the rest of the day with us, and it works out quite well. And we would just wait for him, and then we would make our way to whoever was hosting that year. But this year will be a lot different, and I think that it's just going to be a case of play and relaxing and having fun. Like, we'll get ready, but we'll take it at our pace, and then when Bill arrives we can open his present, and it's almost like an extra Christmas Day morning all over again, which is quite exciting. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional, to be honest, because it's just weird thinking about it. But one thing that I do plan on doing for that interim between Christmas Day morning and the main event, if you would call it that, would be to be having some like nibbles out on the sides where people can just help themselves, because I don't want any case of the hangry, but I also don't want to be making like ham sandwiches for children who want something to eat when we're going to eat in an hour and a half, if you know what I mean. So if my kids are eating crisps and dip and filling themselves up on Quality Street or anything like that, I don't care on Christmas Day, because anything goes, because that's what it's about, isn't it? So I am gonna have some like festive dips, you know, that quad of dips that you can get from literally every supermarket. Gonna get some of them, gonna get some breadsticks, some hummus. I'll do some like veggie sticks and stuff as well, so they're not completely like, you know, they're not getting scurvy or something. And I will also get some mini little bruschetta. I'm going to put some goat's cheese and olive tapenade on them, because that's what we would normally do at like whoever would be hosting. Like it would be like a little procession, like some of us would have the crostinis, put goat's cheese on, and then the next person would put like some tapenade on top, and it would just be like, I just still want to have some flavors and memories that are like special to me, or like something that I can relate to, you know what I mean, like it's something that makes it still feel like Christmas. So I'm going to do those and lay them out, and then if at any point anyone is hungry, they can come and help themselves. They can come and get a banana out of the fruit bowl or anything. Now for like drinks and stuff, I thought I would touch on this, because we do like to have like drinks in our house. We enjoy like a glass of wine, we make cocktails together at the weekend and stuff like that, and when it gets to a Friday, like we let down our hair. In my case anyway, Mark's got a skinhead, but we will, yeah, we'll do that. That's what we like to do. So I do have a few cocktails that we're going to do. The first one I do every year, and it's from Nigella's Christmas. I touched on this and a couple of other videos recently, but I just love this because I have made this every year and it is tradition for me. And I remember making it like last year I think it was, and all my cousins were having it with me as well, because they're all old enough to drink now. That makes me feel old. I'm the oldest of quite a few cousins, and yeah, we make it every year, and it's the poinsettia cocktail. I remember seeing it on her Christmas programme, and I remember watching it, and I must have been a teenager or like a young adult at the time, and I was like, whenever I host Christmas, I'm gonna make this cocktail, and that is what I did. So it is basically Prosecco, Cointreau, Grand Marnier, or Triple Sec, so an orange liqueur, and then cranberry juice. So you need a bottle of Prosecco, 125 ml of whatever orange liqueur you can get your hands on, and then 500 ml of cranberry juice, and you mix it together and serve it in glasses, and it's delicious. It's like a little Christmas punch, and it's really nice. So I'm gonna make some of that for Mark and I. But then for the evening, Jamie Oliver has some wicked cocktails in his Christmas book. It's just the Jamie Oliver's Christmas cookbook, and he has loads of drinks at the back, and we like ones quite strong. So there's a White Russian, hot buttered rum, a fish house punch, and then the ones that caught my eye were the Manhattan, the Negroni, and then there's also a winter old fashioned, and that includes bourbon, maple syrup, chocolate bitters, and orange. And I just think Mark would love that. So I'm definitely gonna get the ingredients in to make those for him as well, and for me, just because it's something that we like to do. So I thought I would share that. Then for the kids, as a treat I really only allow them to have at this time of year, we're gonna get some J2Os in and some Schlur, because when I was a little girl, if I had a Schlur, I was drinking cocktails, man. Because that is honestly what I thought. I used to feel so fancy, and I'd be there like, my fizzy wine. Look at me, mum, cheers everyone, cheers. That is honestly what it would be like. And it's no different for my children, so I'm gonna get that in. Also, the nice thing about it, even though I know it's full of sugar and not very good for them, it's ready to pour and ready to dish out as and when we need to, and it makes them feel special. It does, and I want them to feel special and have some exceptions at this time of year. So that will be what we're doing drinks wise. Obviously in the morning we'll be having like apple juice and orange juice as well, and then they'll be squashing, you know, for hydration, and water obviously. Just let me have a sip of this brew because I am really in the mood. So now caffeine has been had. That was really nice. Let's go on to the main event. Now, I will be doing starters just because I feel like it's one of those things, because I regularly make roast dinners anyway, and I'm often pimping them out and doing something a bit extra with them because I enjoy cooking. I want to make it feel like Christmas Day still. I still want it to be a little bit different. So I'm going to do starters because we never have starters in our house. It's well fancy. And I'm going to go retro. I'm going to do a prawn cocktail because Bill and Mark are absolutely obsessed with prawns, and I know it will go down really well. But I'm also going to do pate and a Melba toast. I'm going to make homemade Melba toast, or at least the way that I've been taught to make it from being a child. And I will do a little demo, like cutaway now for you. But basically, you just want to get some toast. I prefer white bread personally. I find it a little bit easier to work with. You pop it in your toaster and you toast it gently. So you know when it starts to get a little bit crispy, and then you know it's done. You don't want it to get a tiny bit of colour, and then you take it out. Cut the crust off. Then you'll notice once you cut the crust off that down the centre of the bread will be like the fluffy bit that's still not like obviously been toasted enough, and then either side you'll have a hard crispy toasted side. You want to take a serrated knife and through the center of the bread very carefully slice your toast in two. You might get a couple of holes, it might take you a couple of goes, so maybe have a practice first, but then you take those two very thin slices of bread and pop them back in your toaster and toast them, and what you'll find is that they'll curl slightly and you'll get these really funky looking Melba toast. And at least that's the way that I was taught to do it. So I don't know if it's authentic, but I just thought I would share that with you. And then I'm going to get some really nice pate, you know, like the sort that M&S or Waitrose does, where they've added a bit of like plonk to it. So like, I don't know, like a pate with Grand Marnier or something fancy like that. I really enjoy pate. I think the kids will quite like it too. And then we've got two really easy starters to do. So I'm not baking any tarts or anything like that, or doing vol au vents. I'm just doing like things that are traditional and old-fashioned, and they'll hit the spot. So that's the plan for those. And then we move on to the main event. Now, obviously, we're going for turkey. I am nothing if not traditional. And even though I actually don't really rate the meat, I feel like if I had anything else, it would be sacrilege. So turkey it is. And I'm going to get, I've got a turkey crown, and it's going to be wrapped in bacon because bacon adds that saltiness. It also helps like locking moisture as well. And then one thing that I'll be using to check that I'm cooking it properly is using my thermometer. So you just stab it in your meat and you read the temperature, and it will tell you whether or not it is fully cooked on the inside, because we don't want no dry birds. And then along with that, I will be doing the following. Now, I have got goose fat from my roast potatoes because traditionally I wouldn't normally cook with goose fat, and it just feels a little bit different. Some people like to use a mix of goose fat and sunflower or vegetable oil, because goose fat can be quite like very powerful taste. But I might do a mix. I'll see how I feel on the day, but I'm obviously going to pimp out my roast potatoes with some rosemary, Maldon sea salt, and then some garlic as well. I'm going to do those. I might part cook them on Christmas Eve, keep them in the fridge, and then heat them up again on Christmas Day, again to save me time, because roast potatoes take up quite a lot of hob and oven time, I find, and I don't want to be stressing too much. So I'm going to do as much prep as I can. I'm also going to do mash, because in my family we have this argument with my Uncle Jeremy every year, who is like, you don't need mash on Christmas Day, you only need roast potatoes. And the rest of us are like, no, it is not Christmas Day unless you have two types of potato, Uncle Jeremy. So we're gonna have to. Even though he's not with us, I'm still gonna do some mash. Mash is beautiful. I'm gonna get some really decent, sexy butter, I think. You know, like fancy butter that's been like made by unicorns or something like that. So that will be those. I've already bought a rather delectable looking stuffing from Waitrose that I've put in the freezer, because I'd love to make my own stuffing, but I just don't care enough about stuffing to make it from scratch. And that's easy. It comes in a little tray, you put it in the oven, you eat it, job's a good one. And I also find the tray ones are really handy because they're easy to slice, so if you put them in sandwiches afterwards, it's perfect to just slice a bit off. So that is the plan with the stuffing. I got some pigs and blankets from my butchers as well, because butchers do them best, I find, and I'm excited about those. I've ordered 24 and I'm going to cook them all, even though there's 5 of us, because pigs and blankets are the sort of thing that everybody wants leftovers of. So I feel like 24 might not even be enough, in all honesty. Then we're going to have sprouts, which I'm going to parboil them, and then I'll probably transfer them into a frying pan with a generous knob of butter, maybe some clementine juice, and then some garlic, and I'm going to add chestnuts and some pancetta as well, and maybe even a little tiny drizzle of honey just to balance everything out flavour wise. And that is how we're going to have the sprouts. I love sprouts, so obviously I'm going to make those as sexy as I possibly can. And then carrots, I'm not the biggest carrot fan, although I feel like you have to have them on Christmas Day, so we will indeed be having them. But I will probably just slice them into battens and boil them to the point where they've got like a tiny bit of bite, but they're not crunchy, just because I kind of like them to be quite simple. I don't really want to dredge them in honey and clementines this year. I just want something to be like a little bit like, you know, something that feels a bit cleaner on the palate, shall we say. And then I'm going to do honey roasted parsnips. I've got to do a lot of those because Mark is obsessed, so they will definitely be happening. And then what have I missed? I'm not going to do bread sauce because none of us like it, but I will be having cranberry sauce, which is like, it's a must, isn't it? And then I will also be making Yorkshire puddings, and I tend to use like the cup method, so equal quantities flour, eggs and milk. And I'm going to cook those maybe at some point this week. I will freeze them on a baking tray, then once they're frozen I will put them all in a container or a bag, and then put them back in the freezer ready to take out as and when I want them. So I'm basically my own version of Aunt Bessie's, and that just speeds things up a little bit as well. I don't think I've forgotten anything else. I might do some extra veg. I might do some like broccoli or peas or something like that. I will just have to see what everybody wants, because it is quite a lot of food, isn't it? I will also be making sure that we have stuffing for leftovers, like bread and that kind of thing. So if people do want to make like turkey and stuffing sandwiches, and we can basically. So we've got a turkey crown that is like too much for us because I intended to have leftovers, because leftovers is a fun part of Christmas, I find. Then for dessert, I have done my research. I like to get a fun dessert every year that the kids will really enjoy, and one that I got last year that the kids really loved was the, you know, Colin the Caterpillar from M&S. They did a festive one, and I've had a look online on M&S, and they have released like their dates for when things are going to be launched. And on Wednesday the 16th of December they are launching their Christmas tree Colin, which I would really like to try and get my hands on. So on Wednesday, Stan and I will probably be hitting up M&S for some festive Colin and some festive Percy Pigs, and also the biscuits that my grandma buys every year, that I now buy every year because it makes me think of Christmas. So I will definitely be getting that, or if I can't get my hands on him for whatever reason, which would be tragic, I will probably just get you know, like a fun dessert from elsewhere for the kids, something that's chocolate based, because it tends to be what they want. And then for us adults, and just because I make this quite often, like if I would contribute something to like Christmas Day, I would normally take a dessert in the past, and I'm going to be making Nigella's Bailey's tiramisu. And I have my Baileys in. I've had this in for ages, and I've not even broken the seal. I've kept it for that long, mainly because I want to make sure that I've got enough for my trifle, and then anything left over I will enjoy over some ice or something with some Christmas movies over the festive period. But it is the most amazing trifle. It's so good. You obviously need like the trifle sponges, you need mascarpone, and like chocolate shavings, coffee, Baileys obviously, but it is beautiful. It is so good. It is so good. So if you want a suggestion for a Christmas dessert that's a little bit different, then definitely try that. I will also make sure that we get some mince pies in. I actually had the Bailey's cream ready to go with those, because that lasts quite long. It doesn't go off until January, so that's already in the fridge. And that will be what we go for dessert wise, because I don't mind Christmas pudding. I'm definitely not a Christmas cake fan at all, but I just feel like I don't think that we will eat it. And I've been doing loads of brand work recently, like testing various like Christmas things here, there and everywhere. We've already had a taste of Christmas pudding, and I feel like I'm done now, I don't need any more. So that's what we're going to go for. And then I will also make sure that I have things in like Quality Street or Roses or Celebrations and that sort of stuff. So we've got like chocolate to be having, not all for Christmas Day, but to see us through. And then obviously any leftovers we have, we'll just keep on eating them until they've all gone. And then I will also be doing a cheese board, and I will get some port in, because I when it comes to like drinks and stuff, I'm not really a really sweet person when it comes to like cocktails and stuff. I prefer them like to be quite strong, and I would always sit with my gramps and my dad on Christmas Day, where everyone else would be like slopping out on the sofa and they'd be like eating pigs and blankets or watching Christmas telly or watching the Queen's speech, something like that. And we would always go back into the dining room where all the cheese was just left out for anyone to come and help themselves to, and we'd always sit and have a bit of cheese and a glass of port. And I know I can't do that this year, but I'm like determined to like still do those little things that matter to me, because those are the bits I miss, and I know that I can't make them happen just with the food or the drink themselves, but I can still kind of give a nod to it. I am getting emotional, to be honest, because it's just so weird. It's so weird, like I've got such a big family and I can't see them, and it's just, it's hard, but we just feel like it's the right thing to do. Anyway, let's not get emotional about that. And then like for the end of the day, I'm gonna make sure that we've got twiglets in, I'm gonna make sure that we've got cheeselets in, that we've got nibbles, that everybody can help themselves to leftovers, and we'll all just pop and probably change into pajamas by that point. But that will be the general like meal for us on Christmas Day and what we're going to be eating. So we're not really having a lunch as such, because I just feel like Christmas Day is one continuous period of eating food, so I don't think anyone will be complaining. But if you have any suggestions for anything that you think that we might like to try or that I might have missed, then please leave them in the comments down below, because as I said, like I've only done this once before and I do want to make it as special as possible. But hopefully this was like a fun watch and it might have been useful to you too. If I've mentioned any recipes, I will definitely leave them in the description box down below for you, and I hope you have a fantastic Christmas dinner. I really do. But yeah, thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever you're up to, and I'll hopefully see you all very, very soon.